El Mencho. He is the leader of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, one of the fastest-growing criminal organizations in Mexico. His rise came during a time when older cartels were being weakened, allowing new groups to take their place. What makes him different is how aggressively his cartel expanded, using both speed and force to gain control over territories. His organization is known for trafficking multiple types of drugs, which gives it flexibility and reach across international markets. His story shows how modern cartels have become more militarized and adaptable than earlier generations. His influence is tied to a newer phase of organized crime, where groups operate with more coordination and advanced resources. Rather than slowly building power, his cartel grew quickly by taking advantage of instability in the criminal landscape. This makes his rise feel sudden, but it is actually part of a larger shift in how cartels operate today. His name is often associated with secrecy, as he rarely appears publicly, which adds to the sense of mystery around him. In many ways, he represents the modern version of a cartel leader, less visible but still extremely powerful: Pablo Escobar. He was the head of the Medellin cartel and became one of the richest criminals in history during the 1980s. At his peak, he controlled a large share of the global cocaine trade, bringing massive wealth into Colombia. What made him stand out was his mix of public image and extreme violence. He funded projects for poor communities, which earned him loyalty in some areas, but at the same time he ordered bombings and assassinations to maintain power. His actions brought Colombia into a period of intense conflict and changed how the world viewed drug trafficking. Escobar was not just a trafficker, but someone who tried to influence politics and shape his public image. He wanted to be seen as more than a criminal, which made his story even more complex. Despite his attempts to gain public support, the violence tied to his cartel had lasting consequences for the country. His story became widely known around the world, turning him into a symbol of extreme wealth and power. Even years after his death, his name continues to be associated with the height of the cocaine trade. This lasting recognition shows how deeply his actions affected both history and public perception. El Chapo. He was a central leader of the Sinaloa cartel and became widely known for his ability to avoid capture for many years. His organization focused on building strong trafficking routes across borders, using tunnels and hidden transport systems. Unlike some earlier figures, his strength came from maintaining a long-lasting network rather than relying on one dominant show of force. His prison escapes added to his reputation, turning him into a symbol of persistence in the drug trade. His story reflects how organized crime evolved into more structured and durable systems. Over time, his cartel became known for its ability to adapt to pressure from law enforcement. When one route was shut down, another would be created, showing a level of flexibility that kept the organization running. His long career allowed him to remain relevant across different phases of the drug trade. This ability to survive and rebuild made him stand out among other cartel leaders. His name became widely recognized not just for his crimes, but for the way he repeatedly returned to power. Amado Carrillo Fuentes. He was known as the Lord of the Skies because of his use of aircraft to transport drugs. By relying heavily on planes, he was able to move large quantities quickly and efficiently. This approach marked a shift toward more advanced logistics in trafficking operations. He played an important role during a time when Mexican cartels were gaining more control over drug routes. His sudden death during surgery meant to change his appearance added a strange and memorable end to his story. His use of aviation showed how trafficking could expand beyond traditional methods. Instead of relying only on land routes, he created a system that allowed for faster and more flexible movement. This innovation influenced how other traffickers approached transportation. His story is also tied to a period of transition when power was shifting from Colombian groups to Mexican organizations. That shift would shape the future of the drug trade for years to come. Even though his life ended suddenly, his impact continued through the systems he helped develop. His name remains important because it represents a turning point in how drugs were moved across borders. Griselda Blanco. She was one of the earliest major figures in the cocaine trade, especially in the United States. Operating largely out of Miami, she helped establish key trafficking routes during the late 1970s and 1980s. What makes her stand out is both her influence and her reputation for violence. She operated in a male-dominated world but managed to build and control her own powerful network. Her role in shaping the early cocaine market made her one of the most important figures in the history of drug trafficking. Her presence during the early years of the cocaine boom meant she helped define how the business would grow. Miami became a central location for trafficking, and her operations played a role in that transformation. Her methods were often described as ruthless, which contributed to her lasting reputation. Despite the risks, she maintained control over her organization for a significant period. Her story also highlights how quickly the drug trade expanded during that time. She remains one of the most recognized figures from that early era, showing how influential she was in shaping the market. Al Capone. He was a crime boss in the United States during the Prohibition era, when alcohol was illegal. Instead of drugs, his empire was built on bootlegging and other illegal businesses. His story still connects to modern drug lords because it shows how illegal markets can create powerful criminal organizations. He became widely known through media attention and public visibility, shaping the image of a crime boss. His influence helped define how organized crime would be understood in later decades. The demand for alcohol during Prohibition created an opportunity that Capone was able to exploit on a massive scale. His operations involved not just distribution, but also control over territory and influence over officials. This combination allowed him to maintain power for a long time. His public image made him one of the first crime figures to become widely recognized by ordinary people. Even after his downfall, his name remained associated with organized crime. His story shows that the structure behind illegal markets has existed long before modern drug cartels. It also highlights how quickly those structures can grow when demand is strong. Frank Lucas. He was a major heroin trafficker in Harlem who became known for his direct approach to sourcing drugs. By reducing reliance on middlemen, he increased profits and control over his operation. His story highlights how the drug trade affected communities within the United States, not just international routes. He built a strong network that connected global supply to local distribution. His legacy shows how organized crime can operate on both a global and neighborhood level at the same time. His approach to business made him stand out from other traffickers in the area. By focusing on efficiency, he was able to strengthen his position and expand his influence. His operations became a reflection of how international drug systems connect to local markets. This connection made the impact of the drug trade more visible within communities. His story later gained attention through media, which helped bring his name to a wider audience. Despite that attention, the reality behind his operations remained serious and damaging. His role in the drug trade shows how deeply these networks can affect everyday life. Carlos Later. He was a co-founder of the Medellin cartel and played a key role in expanding cocaine trafficking routes. By using Caribbean islands as transit points, he made large-scale smuggling more efficient. His work helped transform the drug trade into a more global system rather than a regional one. While less widely known than some others, his influence was important in shaping how cocaine moved across borders. His role shows that some of the most impactful figures are the ones who build the systems behind the scenes. His use of strategic locations allowed traffickers to move drugs in stages rather than in a single journey. This reduced risk and increased the scale of operations. His ideas helped create a network that could handle large volumes more consistently. Even though he was not always in the spotlight, his contributions were significant. The systems he helped build continued to be used by others in the trade. His story is a reminder that influence is not always tied to fame. Sometimes the most important changes come from those working behind the scenes.